Arayata, which is also one of the board of directors of CCAP, no, chair, and I co-chair this council of CCAP, which is very important for our industry. You know, I guess the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's been really a challenge for all of us every time we encounter certain calamities, nature or man-made. And over the last 5 years, we've been really trying to organize a council like this so everyone can be ready, because our customers, every time we go out and meet clients or they visit the Philippines, they will ask, how's your disaster recovery and BCP program? Are they in place? I'm sure in your contracts, there's that portion. When you receive an RFP or RFQ from customers, they ask that. What normally happens in our industry, let's accept this, it's a cut and paste, right? We cut and paste from previous contract, but it's not really a true blue disaster recovery or business continuity plan, right? We have different locations, but all locations or our offices and our facilities are probably within 80 to 100% utilized. So in disasters, how can you use that if it's 80% or 100% utilized, right? So before we proceed, I'd like to see among the people who attended, who are from companies and you're the BCP head or facility head of the company. Can you please raise your hands? All right. Okay, and the rest are operations? Yeah? IT? Anyone from IT? Wala akong customer. In today's membership meeting, let me clear that. A BCP Council membership meeting, we invited speakers. In fact, your BCP Council has been meeting regularly, and there's really a lot of plans. And there's like 4 initiatives that we really wanted to launch immediately. And this is something that I know, and I guess your BCP Council, quite ready, no? And we know that we can launch it. So we invited a speaker from Project NOAA who will help us describe, what's on the government side, what they're doing in terms of helping our industry, as well as people from Pag-asa, and one of our members gonna share their BCP practice in their company, and we would like to share that. And in fact, I would like to thank HGS Fed for really opening and sharing what your company is doing. And I guess that's why our industry is so successful, because we really share a lot of information. So without further ado, I'd like to turn back the microphone to Jay to introduce our next speaker. So thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Jojo. Okay, now we now bring in the heavyweights. Okay, our next topic, you can see it already on the screen. I'm a big fan of this program because I use it all the time. Okay, whenever there's a storm, the CCAP office is actually open. We use it as a command center. Okay, I live in Quezon City. It's easy for me to go to our office is actually outside of this building, in this hotel. So it's very easy for me to, as long as there's no flying debris, I can drive through EDSA during a storm. And the first thing I do is I open the email and open this website, Project NOAA, so that when people call, our members call, or what are the updates, I get to see where the rains and of course other applications as well. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker, he is the Executive Director of the Department of Science Technology Nationwide Operational Assessment of Hazard, NOAA, or Project NOAA. It's DOS's flagship program for disaster risk reduction and management. He is also a consultant for the World Bank and is a leading international scientific expert on natural disasters. He received his bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of the Philippines and holds a PhD degree in earth sciences from the University of Cambridge. Told you it's heavyweight. He has published more than 50 peer-reviewed journal articles, mostly in international ISI journals. His most recent work covered the 2013 Bohol earthquake and the 2013 Yolanda Haiyan super typhoon. Ladies and gentlemen, our pleasure. Please, a big round of applause for Dr. Alfredo Mahar Francisco A. Lagman.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. I sort of tailored the talk about the UST Project NOAA. I took out probably more than 50 slides and left behind some important slides that I think would be useful to you. I think. No, I'm not sure if it will be useful, but that's what I think. It's up for you to decide whether it will be useful or not. Anyway, I'll be starting off with Project NOAA. NOAA stands for Nationwide Operational Assessment of Hazards, and it's a bit of a biblical name. We have other products called MOSES, Mobile System for Emergency Services. We have apps called NOAA, and we have another app called ARCO. And we recently hired a driver whose name is Genesis. But it's all coincidental. It so happens. The person who coined NOAA, by the way, is sitting over there. That guy whose name is Mon Liboro. He's the person who has been thinking of these marvelous names. Why all biblical, Mon? What's the name of your father? Maybe. Baka si Abraham. Anyway, all right. So, NOAA really just tries to enhance our disaster and mitigation efforts through the use of science and technology, the best that is available in the world. Or at least we try to do that. And we make a very serious effort to collect the current understanding worldwide of certain natural phenomena and try to get the tools that are out there in the world and put all of those tools together as well as the research, and it's called NOAA, and all of those outputs are put in the forefront of our battle against disasters, which is a huge problem in the Philippines. What you're seeing is a flood map. That's one thing that we do at Project NOAA. To be able to do these maps, we had to buy equipment. One of the key messages of NOAA is local capacity and local resources. And that's the best technology available, called LiDAR, to map out the landscape of our country in 3 dimensions, or 3D. That's what you're seeing there in video. And the accuracy of that map in terms of the landscape is 15 centimeters vertical accuracy, and there are 2 elevation points per square meter. That's unprecedented in Philippine history, and it's one of the most advanced in the world. I think for this region, in the Southeast Asian region, we're advanced compared to the other countries in terms of our capability to map out our landscape at that resolution. And with that kind of map, the high resolution map, it affords us to be able to create scenarios of floods using Pag-asa data. They've got several decades of historical rainfall data. We use that, put it in the computer along with the high-resolution topographic maps, and generate the floods so that we will see the distribution of the floods, the height of the floods, in relation to features in the community, to the houses, to the churches, to the roads, and so on and so forth. It's important that we have detailed maps because it's the only way to raise awareness. Because if the people don't relate to the problem, because they don't see familiar features in relation to the flood hazard problem, it does not raise awareness. Detailed hazard maps raises awareness, and that is really the first step towards disaster preparedness. Okay, next slide, please. Apart from flood maps that are detailed and high resolution, we also do landslide hazards. The red bits that you see there are slopes of a mountain that are unstable. We identify them. And the blue parts are if those unstable slopes of the mountain collapses. If they collapse, they would propagate and they would be outlined there in that map as blue. So basically, we try to identify at barangay level, because the black outlines that you see there are barangay borders or barangay boundaries. So within a barangay, you would see the unstable slopes, and if they would fall, or if there's gravitational collapse, you would know where to go. And if they are not colored, that means that there's no landslide hazard in the area. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, apart from the landslides, we have the floods, the landslides, as well as the storm surge maps. And we try to simulate all of the coastal inundation that can happen in the entire Philippines, all coastal areas of the Philippines. What you're seeing there is Pedring, the simulation of Pedring. Can you press it, please? What you're seeing there is the flooding in Rojas Boulevard in 2011. It went to UN Avenue and reached up to Taft Avenue. It destroyed a lot of restaurants, including the famous Spirals restaurant in Sofitel. So that was a 2-meter storm surge, probably less than half of what happened in Yolanda. But nonetheless, that 2011 event was a dangerous event, especially for areas near the coastline, because it destroyed a lot of houses. Luckily, there were minimal deaths during that time. But we didn't learn from that experience of storm surge. What we learned was the meme. There were about 1,000 memes, Photoshop of some officials beside the Rojas Boulevard and the destruction that took place in that area. Next slide, please. So what we do is that we make, just go on, please. Okay, next slide. Malate, it inundated Malate as well. We get the topographic maps. Okay, then just go. We get the landslide maps. Okay, this is a parcel of land in Leyte. Orange means that you can still build on them, but provided that there should be continuous monitoring as well as slope stability intervention. The red places are those places which are highly unstable and can collapse. Next slide, please. So we put the structurally controlled landslides, we put the barangay border, we put the flood map, we put the storm surge map, and the barangay borders. And therefore, with a combination of all of those hazards, we get what we call as a multi-hazard map. The good thing about this multi-hazard map is you can see the places where you should not be whenever there's a warning of severe weather, like a typhoon as strong as Yolanda. Next slide, please. And what happened was that even though it looks very red, and there are a lot of places which are orange, there are still a lot of places which are safe. And you can see that in this enhanced map that we made using the high-resolution topography, the safe areas from previous maps was just 6.32%. We were able to increase that to 47.54%. In fact, when we made this for most parts of the Philippines, every single area of the country has roughly about that amount of safe places. 50% of any given area or any province would have about 50% safe places. That means that there are still safe places in the Philippines to be whenever, okay, in terms of meteorological hazards. Next slide, please. Apart from the hazard maps, DOST, Project NOAA, also has this component that creates, manufactures, and deploys sensors, automated rain gauges, automated weather stations, and automated stream gauges. They're deployed all over the Philippines. You can look at them one by one and you see how much rainfall gets delivered in a certain part of the Philippines. Red means it's torrential rainfall, 30 millimeters of rain. That means that if you're driving and your windshield wiper is turned on fast and continuous, If it's torrential rainfall, you still won't be able to see the road. But with yellow, that means intense. If it's fast and continuous, you'll be able to see the road, although it's raining cats and dogs. Okay, next slide, please. Those are the automated rain gauges. They're about 1,000. I think this is one for the Guinness Book of World Records. And in just 2 years, we were able to deploy all of those 1,500 sensors manufactured locally, deployed by local people. Because that's the message. We have to have local capacity and local resources in our disaster prevention and mitigation efforts. And they stream online, live, near real time, every 15 minutes. And all of this data is available to you. You can see it at the NOAA website, noaa.dost.gov.ph, and we have mobile apps. That's the NOAA app. And there's another app called ARCO, A-R-K-O, where you can see the flood maps that we've created for Metro Manila. Next slide, please. And those sensors, we thought of making it easy for the people so that they don't have to look at the sensors one by one. Since there are a lot of sensors, we tried to contour them. And in this case, for example, with the record of all of the weather stations and the rain gauges, you can see that here in this area, that part of Metro Manila, I think this one was during Typhoon Mario, and you can see that Metro Manila was or had experienced heavy rainfall. It's a total accumulation of the rainfall over the span of 24 hours. So it's not really heavy rainfall, but it's a total accumulation. So based on those sensors, we know where it's raining, what part of the Philippines has experienced heavy rainfall or torrential rainfall or whatever amount of accumulated rainfall that happened in a particular place. Next slide, please. And Pag-asa has Doppler, and those Doppler data get streamed. That's the eye of Typhoon Haiyan as it barreled through the central Philippines region. And the Doppler data also has records of the intensity of rain. If it's pink, that means that the place under that colored area is experiencing this corresponding amount of rainfall. Again, just for your reference, 30 millimeters of rain, that's torrential rainfall, and that's really, really very heavy rain already. If it's more than that, 50 millimeters per hour or 70 millimeters per hour, that's really an extreme type of rainfall. Next slide, please. Okay, so you probably would like to know about this because it's a list of the MMDA flood-prone areas. The MMDA made the list. It's about a list of 21 flood-prone areas. This is not the type of flood that kills. It's the type of flood that is a nuisance because whenever there are floods, there's heavy traffic, and when there's heavy traffic, we waste a lot of gasoline being on the road. And next slide, please. Somebody tried to put it on a map, and we tried to put it on a map as well. And that map, next slide, please, you would see that all of those places are actually captured in our flood map. That's available in the NOAA website, noaa.dost.gov.ph, and in the new version of NOAA, version 2, called beta.noaa.dost.gov.ph. So all of those in the list, like for example, Philcoa, EDSA, Balintawak, Arpapa, Quezon Avenue, are captured in our flood maps. Next slide, please. Let's go on. EDSA Camp Aguinaldo, the dreaded lake in Mega Mall, along EDSA. Padre Burgos, this is in front of City Hall. I'm sure you've seen that. Next slide, please. Buendia South Superhighway, Don Bosco, EDSA Pasong Tamo, Osmeña Highway, East Service. They're all captured in our flood maps. Next slide, please. Let's go on. The Merville West Service Road. And all of these maps are available to you. They're just in the ARCO iOS app. No? It's available for iOS and it's available for Android. It's not available for BlackBerry. Pang matanda kasi yon. Next slide, please. Okay. Sorry, bato-bato sa langit. Okay. Last October 7, 2014, we had flooding there sa Ayala, well, just in front of Manila Peninsula. No? Flooding October 7, thunderstorm.